Hi, my loves. Welcome to your weekly tarot forecast for November 14th to the 21st, 2021. This week, we have our partial lunar eclipse in Taurus on the 19th at 3:57 a.m. ET, bright and early in the morning. And this eclipse is starting off a new 2-year series of eclipses on the Taurus and Scorpio axis. So it is going to become clear. We're going to get hints and indications this week, especially around the 19th, what this next 2 years is going to be about for us. So this eclipse series, season that we are in right now, which is starting on the 19th and taking us through to December 4th with our solar eclipse in Sagittarius, is wrapping up the last 1.5 year series of eclipses on the Gemini and Sagittarius axis. So we're moving forward now into a whole new area of our chart being activated by the growth and change and revelation of eclipses. So for the last 1.5 years, we've all been doing big work around changing our concept of truth and what truth is to us globally. How information has been disseminated and news has been, shared, has changed a lot over the last 1.5 years, right? So for the next 2 years, we are going to be doing big work around Taurus and Scorpio themes, manifestation, money, investments, intimacy, relationships. All of those are going to be changing a lot for all of us moving forward. And this is going to be different for all of us because Taurus and Scorpio occupy a different area of our chart for all of us. But generally, a lot of us are going to be pushed to do the work of making our dreams real over the next 2 years and really identifying what relationships are empowering and supportive and what investments are worth making. This full moon is also forming a trine to Pluto and a square to Jupiter. So big emotions, intense emotions. Don't keep anything festering inside of you, but don't be so overzealous that you are, saying everything that is on your mind, saying everything that is on your heart during a lunar eclipse, a full moon eclipse. Not the time to rush or force anything. Be intentional. On the 21st, the sun moves into Sagittarius, and we start Sagittarius season, the season of the adventurous visionary of the zodiac. Time to look forward and get optimistic about the future. So we have the Four of Cups, the Page of Wands, and the Nine of Wands. We're really invited to harness our fire energy this week. If you've been feeling kind of stuck or stagnant or locked into a certain way of being over this last week or over Scorpio season in particular, that can change this week. We can identify how we have been using our fire energy to keep us stuck in some particular spot and how we can now liberate ourselves and channel that outward into some new expression, some new beginning. A lot of us are going to be starting new projects this week, new beginnings this week in terms of like relationships or your spirituality even, or opening your heart to the future in a new way here, really getting out of our own way. With the Nine of Wands, we've been through it. Scorpio season maybe took some of us through it. It was deep, it was intense, maybe took you through some shadow work. Maybe you learned a lot about the ways that you are, relating to your boundaries in a way that is not actually authentic and supportive. And maybe you've been kind of just feeling like trapped in a certain perspective around that. Maybe you kind of felt walled in a little bit in Scorpio season. Now we can break free. Now we can start a whole new tip, a whole new trajectory, and a whole new way of expressing ourselves. And the Page of Wands really invites us to be experimental and intentional as well. We are wrapping up a full cycle here with the Nine of Wands. We've been through it. We know what it feels like to have our trust shattered and our boundaries breached, maybe even by ourselves. And now we're ready to be intentionally experimental and optimistic moving forward into Scorpio Sagittarius season, starting with this lunar eclipse. I feel like this lunar eclipse is going to be like ripping off a Band-Aid or taking off some sunglasses in a dark room when we're like, wow, I can actually see clearly now, and I'm ready to stop getting in my head or standing in my own way or keeping myself out of what I want to be in, and I'm ready to just start acting like I am ready now. I'm ready to start acting like I can open my heart, and I want to open my heart, and I know that it doesn't need to feel any type of way that I don't want it to feel. I'm ready to be optimistic about the future, and I'm ready to try a new way. Ready to try a new way. Turning over a new leaf. Things haven't been as we wanted them to be. They haven't been inspiring. They are going to be inspiring now. We're going to find that sense of inspiration, and it's going to come through. With this Taurus lunar eclipse, we're wrapping up a major cycle, a major chapter, not only from the last 6 months connected to the Taurus new moon back in May, but also just, starting off really starting to end off this last year and a half cycle that we've been in. And this has been a last year and a half for a lot of us. It's been heavy. It's been heavy. There's been a lot of change in relationships. There's been a lot of change in our self-talk, and a lot of change in our concept of safety, right? What does safety really mean to you? Maybe a lot of us are feeling like collectively like we're just a little bit more safe now to actually be more open-minded and be in that energy of that Sagittarius sort of energy of like willing to think bigger, willing to think more expansively. With the Four of Cups, we haven't been seeing what we want, but I think with this Page of Wands, we're going to have a different perspective of what is. A different perspective of what is. Taurus lunar eclipse. Seeing our reality, the structures that support us now, all that we've worked for, in a very different way. And maybe having perspective on the work that we did in Scorpio season, and actually being willing to go deeper, and actually being willing to kind of recognize deep parts of us. Oh, I actually do feel that way. Oh, that doesn't feel good to notice, but that's the truth. And the truth will set us free, right? This trine to Pluto, kind of a little bit of like rabbit hole energy, like digging deep into the truth. And that can be, I think, really generative. Might not feel the best. Full moons are associated with big feelings, but it can be freeing. Breaking free of our Nine of Wands shackles. We've put in some work, and we can change now. We are not powerless to ourselves anymore, powerless to fear anymore, powerless to our ego anymore. The Wheel of Fortune. Cycles are ending and cycles are beginning. Sagittarius season starts at the end of this week, and a new 2-year series of eclipses starts this week. Big changes, and it can feel really easy to feel like things are very up in the air in the energy of this card and the energy of transition periods. But that's okay. Keeping our sights on what would be amazing if this happened, or what am I calling in, and what parts of the process of calling that in can I affect, can I control in the here and now, not in the future, not 6 months from now, not getting ahead of ourselves, not getting into analysis paralysis or paralysis Nine of Wands energy of like freaking ourselves out, getting too ahead of ourselves, but again, being in that Page of Wands energy of excitement, curiosity, but there's a little bit of grounded energy, kind of implied there. Only what we can control, because we can influence the wheel to turn in our favor. We can influence fate. We do have control over a lot in our lives. Not everything, but we have control over what we're saying, what we're choosing to share our energy with, what we're choosing to let live rent free in our minds, who we're choosing to talk to, who we're choosing to share our hearts with, we can make wise choices now. And we can take forward what we learned in this last year and a half about truth and what is true for us and apply that to this next cycle. I'm going to pull a card from my Hermetic Tarot. What was the prison that you were in before? What was the shackle that you were in before? Was that informed by you, or was that conjured up by some past version of you, or some other person made you think you needed to be in this prison, not able to share or express yourself in the way that you want, or feel like you couldn't just be you and show up in the ways that you want and feel safe to be you. Feel safe to be you and want what you want. Let this eclipse that out of your life. Magician. The power of your intention is so real. The Wheel of Fortune reminds us that intention is not everything, but it's really, really integral. You are the center of your universe. Your intention is the most important tool in your toolkit. The Magician reminds us of that. When you are intentional in every day, don't underestimate what can happen from that. The axis of power, Taurus and Scorpio. Stepping into your power. What would it look like over this next 2 years to really step into your power? Breaking out, breaking free, coming out. Showing up. Having fun with creativity, having fun with romance. We're able to have fun with this Page of Wands. So I'm pulling a Earth Magic Oracle card here. And let's see what comes up for us. Yes, it is a full moon this week. Completion. Amen. Completion. Wrapping it up. What is complete? Can't lie to yourself around a full moon eclipse as to what is complete. Let it be done. Let it be complete. Let the universe support you, help you in wrapping up what needs to be wrapped up. Every 29.5 days, Grandmother Moon shines bright and full in the sky, illuminating the landscape with her muted brilliance, casting a delicate canopy over the sky and physical features of the earth. Having gradually etched her way over the last 2 weeks to fullness, she now stands like a guiding beacon in the night. She has completed this round of her perpetual and periodic monthly journey and will now start her slow but steady retreat into shadow. With this card, we see the grandeur of the moon at its peak, blazing brightly, creating a silhouette of a tree. This beautiful orb reminds us that all cycles have their time of completion and fulfillment, one that will inevitably be followed by a decrease until yet another cycle is initiated. You can now take pleasure in knowing that whatever you've been working towards has now reached a culmination. It may have been a relatively brief cycle or a much more extensive one, yet regardless of the length of time, you have arrived at a state of completion. Let yourself feel the contentment and satisfaction of this accomplishment. It is like when you take a deep breath and reach the point where your lungs are pleasantly full and your body is ready to release that breath. It is important to not only enjoy this completion, but also let go and allow yourself to relax afterward, just like exhaling slowly and consciously. People are much too eager to rush onto the next item on the agenda without giving proper time and space to appreciating and honoring the natural cycle of release that follows a point of resolution. Give yourself that time to relax and rest before tackling Spirit's next assignment. Love it. All right. Happy eclipse, my friends. I'm sending you so much love and so many blessings.